Welcome everybody to this episode of Soul Sessions. We have in our studio already Drew, and we're bringing into the studio Griff and Mary. So we have the usual suspects. I was actually thinking we should call that our kind of house band name, the usual suspects. So
I like it. Yeah.
So welcome, Drew, Griff, and Mary. You guys want to just say how's it?
I am Kaiser Sosa.
No, it doesn't work. Hi everyone. We're joined by Ermin the cat as well, who's down there somewhere, asleep on a book, but he'll leave as soon as I start singing. Anyway, he's got a very good taste in music. So.
Just thinking, I think Kevin Spacey was more popular as Kaiser Sosa than he is right now. Hey? I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, it'll be a little close to home.
Anyway, we have a great show before us this evening. We have our in-studio guest with us, Reverend Karen Spence, and she'll be joining us a little bit later on. But we do welcome you and would invite you, as always, please, to put in your requests for songs. And let us know that you're watching. Comments always appreciated. Do know that if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, that if you type in your comments, they do actually appear in the comment stream on the side. And if the comments is of a particular quality, I will actually throw it up on the board for all of us to see. So Andrew Robinson on quality control here at Soul Sessions. But it's really good to have you with us. We have, I think it's a great program ahead of us. We have some really cool songs. Some songs I don't even know, but some really, I can't wait to hear them. And then also some old familiars that mean a lot to us already as Christians in particular. And to get us out the blocks, one of those is the song Cornerstone. And Drew, this is going to be your first offering for this evening. You want to take that away?
My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly trust in Jesus' name. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly in Jesus' name. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. When darkness seems to hide His face, I rest on His unchanging grace. In every high and stormy gale, my anchor holds within the veil. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. When He shall come with trumpet sound, oh, may I then in Him be found, dressed in His righteousness alone, for the Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong. Savior's love through the storm. He is Lord, Lord of all.
Yeah. Great, Drew. Thank you so much. Knock that out of the park.
I might
Thank
try
you.
disconnecting and reconnecting again because I'm at the back of the house. The signal mightn't be terribly strong, so I may leave and return. Hopefully, we'll try.
Do not go too far. Do not go too far. I'm really looking forward to our next song, but by way of introduction to it, there's a bit of an introduction to the song. It's a song by Mahalia Jackson called Precious Lord, Take My Hand. What's been on my mind today, and in fact this past week, I think are events out of the United States. Griff, you may not be aware of this. United States is quite a big country. Not this one, other one, but but I was thinking of well, of course they swore in Joe Biden as the 46th president just about an hour ago, but maybe more importantly than that, Monday was Martin Luther King Day, and he had that beautiful quote talking about unity, and I think like this is such an epic issue for us right now, is finding unity in a world that is so divided and so broken and so violent and so distrustful. And he had that beautiful sentiment where he said, and as I say this, you'll probably be able to say it along with me, in a real sense, all life is interrelated. All men, all people are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. That's just like that, just an amazing gospel quote there. Of course, Martin Luther King was a famous nonviolent resistor, a pacifist, great man of God and preacher. And I heard a story this week that kind of referenced his "I Have a Dream" speech, and it's a story about Mahalia Jackson, who was, I didn't know this, but was regarded as kind of the queen of gospel at the time, and went around with Martin Luther King, would sing at events, and they often shared the stage. And she often performed as a lead-in to his speeches and I imagine his sermons. And she performed as a lead-in to his "I Have a Dream" speech. And he would request songs from Mahalia. And Dr. King himself requested that she sing the gospel classic at that time. The song goes, "I've been rebuked," meaning rebuked, and "I've been scorned." He was, of course, rebuked and scorned. He was accused of all sorts of things, one of them being a communist, and he faced down in his time all kinds of conspiracy theories and lies about him. But what is important is, as much as Martin Luther King requested songs of Mahalia, Mahalia also felt comfortable instructing him in return. And this is where there's actually a really fantastic little anecdote. Martin Luther King was giving that famous "I Have a Dream" speech, and he was interrupted by Mahalia Jackson, who decided that his speech needed a course correction, because he was kind of moving through his written script, and he was going through it really quickly, a bit fast. And from behind the podium on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, Mahalia Jackson said to him, "Tell them about the dream, Martin. Tell them about the dream, Martin." And you can actually see in the film of that event that it's in that moment that Martin Luther King begins to improvise that entire section of his speech, the historic part that begins, "And so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream." He had obviously shared that with her, and then she said, no, listen, this thing's a little bit dry, come on, tell them about the dream, Martin, and then kind of kicked it in. So it's just a beautiful kind of unscripted moment where she sort of bumped into Mahalia Jackson requested a song by her, and Mary kindly has offered to play for us one of her songs, which is "Precious Lord, Take My Hand." Is that right, Mary? I got that right.
Yeah, you do have that right. It's not really her song. I feel like I have to correct. It's Thomas Dorsey's song.
But she does sing it though. She does cover it.
And she's famous for singing it. But it was written by Thomas Dorsey, who kind of invented gospel. I don't know. He's sort of the father of gospel music, I guess. So yeah, and she sang this at Martin Luther King Jr.'s funeral, and sorry, I saw Bill read these comments. She sang it at Martin Luther King Jr.'s funeral, and then Aretha Franklin sang it at her funeral, and And
it is a very moving song lyrically. We look forward to it being sung. Mary and Griff, over to you guys.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, but I am warm. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to that light. Take me home, precious Lord, lead me on.
When my way grows drear, precious Lord, linger near. When my life is almost gone, hear my cry, hear my call, hold my hand, lest I fall. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. When the darkness appears and the night draws near, and the day is past and gone, at the river I stand, guide my feet, hold my hand, take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home.
Wow, that was absolutely fantastic. Griff, Mary, thank you so much. Can't help but feel like inspired a little bit by the events of today as well. Put a little bit of extra juice into that.
That's the song that, like, I grew up singing that a lot. But if you get a chance to find Mahalia Jackson's version of it, it's one that, like, I play in classes that I teach because it's so slow. It's remarkably slow, and it really forces you to sit and listen because you kind of wanted to speed it up. But it's such a great version. So, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Mary, Griff, thank you so much. We're going to bring Karen in on this. I'm worried a little bit about changing the tempo of. We're really kind of getting into a groove here. Switch it up in a horrible way. The singing is fantastic, guys. Just to say, please keep the comments coming. It's so nice to see all the comments. I normally do put more up on the screen, but I'll tell you something quite frightening happens. Is that when I put it up, I actually the signal cuts to, I can't hear the vocals. So I think it might just be a broadband issue. So I'm a little bit scared to kind of put them up and then lose vocals. So please keep them coming. It's not that I'm not putting them up because I don't care for them. I love them, but I'm just a bit worried about that. But all that aside, Karen, welcome to you.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Hi, Karen.
All the way in from Killarney. How are things down that end of the circuit?
They're going grand, thanks. Yep, all is well.
Okay, Karen, we are going to start with a questionnaire for you. This is basically in two parts. So the first part's going to be quite kind of irreverent. the next part will be a little bit more serious. I actually came across this last week, and I put Drew and Mary and Griff through their paces on a questionnaire. This questionnaire is designed, as I said last week, to dig deep and reveal our guest's truest self by drawing on responses to the full spectrum of human experience. It is, importantly to note, it is scientifically invalid, yet brilliant, and everything worth knowing is distilled into 15 questions. In fact, I've put my expertise to it, and I've managed to narrow it down even further to 10, but with the same end result. So I'm going to fire questions at you, Karen. We want honest answers. We want them quickly.
Sure.
Best sandwich?
Sweet chili chicken.
Wow. Sweet chili chicken. That's a good sandwich. Thank you.
Yeah.
Not just chicken, but the sweet chili sauce with the chicken. Is that right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's what you're hearing.
Okay. Strong start, Karen. Strong start.
Good. Can we just stop now?
Karen, what's one thing you own that you should really throw out? Do not say your husband.
No, I wouldn't say that. He might be listening. Gosh, I'm going to say I don't think I have anything that I should really throw out because I'm actually quite ruthless. And I don't keep things that I don't need.
Karen, you must have one club in your golf bag that you never hit. You have it there.
I use them all now.
Your 2-iron, Karen. Do you use your 2-iron?
I don't have one of those.
You're hitting hybrids.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got nothing. That's okay. What's the scariest animal?
Oh, probably snake.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Apples or oranges?
Oranges.
Okay. Why?
Because I don't like apples.
Karen, what do you think happens to us when we die?
We go to heaven. Is that the answer you're after?
I'm after your truth, Karen. Don't tell me what I want to hear.
Well,
tell me what I need to hear.
we get buried or cremated, and then we go to heaven.
Okay. Just as an aside, these questions all come from Stephen Colbert, who's a late night talk show host, and he asked that question of Keanu Reeves, and Keanu Reeves had this answer which I found quite delightful. He said, Stephen Colbert said to Keanu, "What happens to us when we die?" And Keanu Reeves said, "The people who love us will miss us," which I thought was quite a sweet answer. Favorite action movie, Karen?
Oh, it's got to be a whole group of them, like Marvel hero action.
Okay. So are you into the kind of Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy kind of thing.
Okay. I'm learning a lot about you just through this because even the song you recommended, which we are coming to shortly, was kind of came out of left field at me. Karen, exercise worth it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I hear.
Flat or sparkling?
Flat.
Okay. Flat. Oh, okay. Oh, why? Anybody goes for sparkling?
I don't like sparkling things.
Okay. Most used app on your phone?
Probably Deezer.
Okay. I'm also Deezer. Griff said last week Spotify. So music. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the most recent album you've downloaded?
Lauren Daigle.
Ah, yes. Okay, she's great. A gospel singer as well.
Yeah.
You get one song to listen to for the rest of your life. What is it?
Oh, crikey. That's a really hard question, isn't it? Okay, someone asked me in 2020 to choose a song for 2020, and after much deliberation, I came up with 2 songs. So one of them was Imagine Dragons, On Top of the World. I don't know whether you know that.
Okay, On Top of the World, yeah.
Probably that would be, right now, that would be the song.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant, good, good, good. And describe the rest of your life in 5 words.
She became a great golfer.
Love it, Karen, love it. Excellent. Yeah, and needless to say, it goes without saying, you passed the test with flying colours. Mary Griff, can we give Karen a round of applause for fantastic answers? And one of the surprises about Karen, apart from the fact that she loves Marvel, in fact, I have another question for you. Favorite book of all time? I mean, apart from the Bible, Karen, apart from the Bible.
Obviously.
Obviously.
It would have to be a book, and I can't remember the author, but the title is Atticus. And I'm just trying to think of who wrote it. The author.
Okay.
It's a book called Atticus.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another question. Your favorite book of the Bible?
Probably Mark's Gospel.
Okay. Why's that?
Because it's short. It's concise.
It's concise. Yeah. The one is heretical, the other is intellectual. It is the same thing. Beautiful, Karen. Oh my goodness, Karen, thank you so much. The side of you that I'm now just coming to know through some of the answers you've given was made abundantly clear to me earlier, because I asked you over WhatsApp as we were preparing for this to give a song that you'd like as a request. And you requested a song by Stormzy called Blinded by Your Grace, part 1, not part 2. I didn't realize there were 2 parts to the song and that they're actually effectively different songs. We won't go into all of that. I put it out there. There we go. Griff is showing it to us. And Griff kindly has offered to sing for us Blinded by Your Grace. And when we come back, Karen, we're going to keep you around because I want to ask you some questions about how you're seeing God in your world and our world. Okay, Mary, Griff, over to you guys.
Ready?
I'm blinded by your grace. Every night, every day. And I was lost, yeah. But ever since you found me, I'm blinded by your grace. Through the darkness you came, and I'll be alright with you by my side. The way that I see you, you're all that I'm needing. Your love never lets me down. Your love never leaves me out. When I'm losing faith and there is nowhere left to turn, I pray you won't let me down. Pray you won't let me down. I'm blinded by your grace. Every night, every day. And I was lost, yeah. But ever since you found me, I'm blinded by your grace. Through the darkness you came, and I'll be alright with you by my side. I can't escape you. I can't replace you. So don't walk away from me now.
Yeah, that was pretty special. Mary, Griff, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Karen. I know Stormzy, of course, but I did not know that tune. And
All right. Okay.
it's wonderful.
It's cool. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So, Mary, Griff, thank you so much. I'm going to take you off the screen now as I just have a bit of a conversation with Karen, and we'll keep you in the wings. Drew is back there as well. Drew, you holding up okay? Give us a thumbs up. Okay, excellent, excellent. Karen, thank you so much for joining us. I'm actually really looking forward to this conversation because I don't say it's likely, I feel like you've been gifted to me as a superintendent during my stay in Ireland over the last 2.5 years. I've had amazing conversations with you in our Fitzgerald's coffee shop in Macroom. And I've always left feeling inspired and humbled by your words. So I'm glad that we have this opportunity to share the conversation a little bit broader than just the two of us in that coffee shop. And Karen, one of the things I've enjoyed about these conversations is sort of the discussions about how we understand the work of God in our world and in our lives, and it's kind of this compulsion of yours to help people understand that God is very much beyond the walls of the church, which should be very obvious to us, but isn't always, and that God can be found in unexpected places, which you probably well know. I lifted that from Philip Yancey, one of his books, one of his earlier works. So maybe just to get the ball rolling, Karen, how have you seen God present with you through the COVID-19 season, the last 10 months, which have arguably been the most difficult months for many people?
Yeah, well, I think in some remarkable ways, I have encountered the presence of God. And a lot of that is when I'm out walking. I mean, way back in April, when you could only walk, you could only exercise 2 kilometers from your house. There was a route that I did here with one of the dogs, and I did it the same way. So I did it anti-clockwise all the time. And one Sunday morning, I went out and did it in a clockwise direction. And it became a totally different walk, because it was like everywhere I looked, there was just things that just spoke to me, verses of scripture. So for example, there was a little wall that had like sort of like that sort of shape going along. It would have been how I would have drawn a castle as a child, and it just reminded me that God is our fortress. And what I did on that walk, because there were so many things. I mean, I was just being bombarded everywhere I looked. I ended up walking the dog with one hand, getting my mobile out in the other hand, finding the voice recorder, and just simply recorded all of the things that I just, where I was encountering God on that walk, and came back, typed it up, and sent it out to people the next day. And one of the most profound things was when I was, and this is early days of COVID-19, we were all, and we still are, there's a certain element of fear. And I walked past a filling station, a garage, and in the forecourt, wow, I had never noticed this sign before until that morning. And it's simply safe hands. And it was just as if God was saying, Karen, you're in safe hands. I'm back in, it must have been around November time, not that long ago. I was out walking again, and it was a really foggy morning. And, everywhere I looked that morning, it was like God was just speaking to me through creation. There was trees that were hanging over the path, and it was just, His banner over you is love. So those sort of things, I see God as I'm walking, and I mean, I don't go seeking that every day, but it just happens, and it's just truly brilliant when it does, happen like that. And seeing God in the beauty of His world, and in the people that I meet as well. There's always encounters and conversations.
Brilliant, Karen. Thank you so much, Karen. Being a kind of long-standing, not just a minister, but a Christian, and with a sense that our relationship with God is always in flux, it's always changing. It's always hopefully progressing and maturing. How's your understanding of God and God's work in the world changed for you from like when you first believed to where you are now? What have been the kind of significant shifts in your thinking and your experience of God?
yeah, I mean, I guess as a as a young Christian, when you're first committing to God, there's always room for growth, and I think moving away from from the truth that Jesus is my Savior, to a broader understanding of who God is and how God works in His world. This is a God that we worship. It's a God of justice, a God of mercy, a God whose eyes are on the oppressed and the impoverished. And how Jesus came and how Jesus ministered to those who were in need, how He ministered to those who society shunned. So those sort of things have certainly helped me understand to a greater depth of who God is and how God works in His world. For me personally, it's been a process, and right now it's a lot more about the spiritual disciplines. That draw me and make my roots go deeper in God and who He is. So those things that if you'd said to me even 15 years ago, Karen, these would be part of your life in 15 years time, I'd go, oh, I don't really think so. But actually they are, so things like silence and solitude, centering prayer, things like Lectio Divina, some of the Ignatian spiritual practices, those have all helped me encounter God and encounter the depth that there is in knowing God.
Karen, thank you so much. I mean, just to pick up what you're saying there, I think for me it's funny, like you're saying, in some ways they almost, when you start on the faith journey, they're the more understated things, but they become the things that actually sustain you for the journey. I mean, I remember when I was taught censoring prayer, which was in my Pinetown days as a minister, where I was ordained. That was now, goodness, a lifetime ago now. But I mean, that practice that I was taught in that place, that time, has been an absolute bedrock for me. I return to it when I'm doing it regularly. I'm at my healthiest. When I'm failing, it's the thing I go back to. It's incredible. It's so understated. It doesn't have the glitz and the glamour of some of the other stuff around faith, but it really is for the long haul. Karen, what attitudes of the heart assist people to experience God in their everyday lives and world? I mean, what's the right approach for people to have?
To be open. To have an open heart, an open mind, open eyes, to what God is doing around us, in our communities, even in these times of COVID-19. And to be listening, our ears need to be open as well. For me, it's all about openness, because God can use unexpected people in unexpected places to speak to us. It's not always within the four walls of a church or through reading scripture. God is a God who speaks, and that can happen in so many different ways and in different formats. I think we need to be open. We're talking about movies earlier on. I mean, we watched Captain Marvel a couple of weekends ago, and even in that, God can speak through some of the things that you hear. Through that song I chose, Stormzy, that happened. I came to learn that song or know that song while having my lunch one day, and there was a TV program on, and that was the theme tune. And I thought, hey, that sounds like a good song, and went away and got it in Deezer and thought, yeah, so though, because you're open, because you're expecting to hear God, expecting to encounter God everywhere you go, it happens. So there's truth in the words, seek Him and you will find Him. Yeah.
And Karen, just to nuance that a little bit, and maybe as a kind of the closing question. I mean, the 10 months have been very difficult for a lot of people. I think people have been asking questions not just about the world, the workplace and all that, but like deep existential questions as well. So what would your advice be to someone who's really struggling with their faith, or in this moment in time sensing the absence of God rather than God's presence? What would you say to people like that?
I think, I think the first thing I would say to someone who's feeling that God's not present, that they're struggling, is it's okay. To give reassurance that that is okay, because we all, at least I have had moments of struggle, and the last thing I would want to say to someone is something that sends them on a guilt trip, that hey, you need to try harder, you need to pray more, read your Bible more,
have more faith.
Have more faith. Because that's not what someone in that situation needs to hear. So if they hear words of reassurance, that hey, this can be normal. I suppose my own experience, it would be there was a period a few years ago when I knew I wasn't in good form, and it was like a lot of the emails that were coming into my email box were talking about the dark night of the soul. I was kind of like that, but actually what I discovered in that is that is when God does some of his deepest work. So even when someone thinks that God is absent and they're not connecting, God is still at work. And to hang on in there. I heard something this morning at another Zoom thing that I attended, was that Jesus is more interested in you than you are in him. And I think that's a reaffirming phrase as well, that Jesus is more interested in you than you are in him. So I would want to encourage someone, and certainly we wouldn't want to make them feel worse about how they're already feeling, or make them feel guilty at all.
Karen, thank you so much. That's the end of it. Those are all the questions I have. Karen, thank you so much. I'm so pleased that that others have got to share in the conversations that I have quite regularly with you. I'm going to ask you to stick around in the studio, if that's okay. We'll bring you back. I'm going to ask for Mary and Griff and Drew maybe to reflect on a little bit of what you've said as well. But we'll do that all after the next song. The next song was actually requested last week, I think, by Gordon Nicholson up in Youghal. And the song is a song called Galileo. I had to go and research this because I didn't know about this song, but it's sung by Declan O'Rourke. Is that right? We got that right? Okay, it seems to be right. So, Karen, we're going to put you back into the blue room or the green room or the yellow room, whatever they call it, and I'm going to pull up Drew. Drew,
hi.
good to be back.
I'm back. I have to say I'm really enjoying this evening. I've been a bit of a spectator, but I've been really enjoying it, I have to say. I loved what Karen had to say, and I really loved the music. I love Precious Lord. I sang it years ago in a choir, and we were maybe a little bit too white singing it, but I really loved the song. I really loved the song, nonetheless. And that Stormzy, which is all new to me, loved that, and the keys, Mary on the keys and everything. I was really enjoying it. Yeah, Declan.
I was trying to put my hand on what it was about the Precious Lord that really was kind of moving me, and because I was really focusing. I'm not. There's not disrespectful to say I'm always focusing, because often I'm looking and think, how the comments coming in, how's the static, But I really listened, and then Mary said it's because it is so slow, and I realized that's exactly what it is. It kind of forces you into a slower rhythm. So yeah, just every song has just really hit the spot.
Yeah, it's a pace. Yeah. It's at a walking pace, and you're waiting for it to take off. But it's the holding back of it is what I think makes it one of the things that makes it so powerful. Yeah.
Drew, can you tell us a little bit about the next song, which is Galileo?
I think this might have been requested at one of our first sessions as well. It's by Declan O'Rourke, who's an Irish singer-songwriter. He's been around for quite a while. He did a very interesting project a few years ago about the famine. And he wrote a series, an album, basically exploring different stories from the famine. It's very interesting if you like different style of music, maybe to this. But yes, I heard Declan O'Rourke play this very song. One of the last gigs I went to in early January 2020, just in St. Luke's, what was St. Luke's Church up here in the north side. That's a concert venue now. So it was one of the last gigs that I heard him play, and he played with a harpist, and it was really beautiful. So needless to say, I'm not going to be able to do it justice this evening, but it is a beautiful song. So we'll give it a go.
Excellent. Drew, over to you. Thank you.
Galileo fell in love as a Galilean boy, and he wondered what in heaven, who invented such a joy. But the question got the better of his scientific mind, and to his blind and dying gaze he looked up high and often sighed, and sometimes cried. Who put the rainbows in the sky? Who lights the stars at night? Who dreamt up someone so divine? Someone like you, and made them mine. Love can make you ask some funny questions now and then, but just remember the alternative. For I remember when I was lonely and unhappy, and my lips were cold as ice, but you kissed me, and good heavens, now I'm here in paradise. So if ever I'm not kissing you or looking in your eyes, I won't be blind and I won't cry. I'll look up high and gladly sigh and thank the guy who put the rainbows in the sky, who lights the stars at night, who dreamt up someone so divine. Someone like you, and made them mine. Someone like you, and made them mine. Yeah, it's a great song.
Fantastic, Drew. I've never heard it before, and I'm glad that I get to hear it like that for the first time. I think we do it every week, but I really want to say, I think tonight more than most other nights, we're living up to our name, Soul Sessions. It really is a soulful kind of evening of song.
Yes,
and
you were talking earlier about the. I was watching CNN this afternoon. I skived off because I couldn't drag myself away. But yeah, thank God there's a man of faith in the White House. Whatever about your politics.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank God for that.
You know,
Not the example of our power.
Yes, the power of our example. Brilliant.
Example of our power, but the power of our example. Yeah.
Jeez, words to live by. On that soulful note, after the next song, we're going to bring Karen back in, and then just invite you just to maybe respond to what Karen said a little bit earlier, just in a minute or two. Some of your own thoughts about, because I mean, there was some real meaty stuff that Karen offered for us. But before then, like, I just think you were the tone of this, Mahalia Jackson, Blinded by Your Grace, even Galileo. I just thought, man, Nina Simone's crying out to be sung. As like, this is a fusion of First Friday Jazz Vespers and Soul Sessions. So Mary and Griff, you guys are going to lead us with Nina Simone's fantastic song. This is the song, Mary, if I recall correctly, that you'd play for eternity, for the rest of your life. Would be
Yeah, if I only got one
wish.
song, I'd pick this one. I still think, this would be the one.
Okay, excellent. Well, over to you. Take it away.
You're sing it.
Do the first one.
Oh, sing with me though. I can't really. I'll do the intro.
I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things that I should say. Say I'm loud, say I'm clear for the whole round world to hear. Well, I wish I could share all the love that's in my heart. Remove all the bars that keep us apart. Well, I wish I could know what it means to be me. Then you'd see and agree that everyone should be free. Well, I wish I could give all I'm longing to give. I wish I could live like I'm longing to live. I wish I could do all the things that I can do. And though I'm way overdue, I'd be starting anew. Well, I wish I could be like a bird up in the sky. How sweet it would be if I found I could fly. I'd soar to the sun and look down at the sea. Then I'd sing, 'cause I know. Yes, I'd sing, 'cause I know. Yes, I'd sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free. Amen.
Loved it. Oh, you're on fire. You're on fire tonight.
Fantastic. truly on fire. Guys, I think Mary's smoking. I think we all agree, Karen, your words tonight were excellent. Just a couple of your phrases, the notion of being open, of openness, is just brilliant. And I just thought, Mary and Griff, Drew, deeply thoughtful people as well. Any responses to what Karen was saying to us tonight?
One of the things we were speaking about was about how times of challenge or times your faith might progress, or different things that happens as you go in, even if you've been a lifelong Christian as well. And when I first became chaplain in Ashton, however long, I think it was maybe 12 or 13 years ago, I can't remember, sometime like that. A friend of mine who's this sort of, because I was all going to do everything, because I was young and I was enthusiastic and I was going to throw myself in at 100 miles an hour. And he said, there kind of is sort of three phases to this as well. If you're working, it's part of your faith, and if you're in service. And he was saying, the first is where it's really between you and the people, and you're trying to serve the people and do everything for them. And the second phase then, that it really, as you sort of evolve through it, that it becomes more about God and the people, and you being sort of a conduit for that almost. And then there's the third mature phase, which is where it really is just about you and God, your relationship between the two of those. And I still remember those words very clearly. I might have paraphrased a little bit from what he was saying to me, because I do, or certainly did years ago, have a tendency to just rush at everything at 100 miles an hour. And I keep going back to that as well, about where do I fit into the picture, you know, where is my role in terms of how I work with people in that regard. So I was thinking about that when you were speaking about that, Karen, and the different things, cycles and things like that.
Yeah, brilliant. Griff, Mary?
No, I think great.
Griff defers.
No, I was I was the part about you know, how do you, about seeing God and, you know, open your eyes and open your ears, and that's you know, I was thinking about somehow that is kind of it is a little bit symbiotic, right? That we see God because we have open eyes or open ears, but that also God enables us to have open eyes and open ears. That there's some kind of, because I do think that there's sometimes that for whatever reason, like we kind of can't do that, and you know, we can pray for willingness to do that or something, but that somehow that's those kind of things, it goes together. Yeah.
Brilliant, Mary. Thank you so much.
I was just going to say real briefly that I've had some Job moments recently, yelling at the sky and challenging God to do something for God's sakes, do something. And I appreciated Karen. I mean, yeah, and you know, honestly, I'm not one to do those kinds of things, but I've had those thoughts over the last months. And I appreciated your point, Karen, about what did you say? God or Jesus always cares more about us than we do about him. That maybe it's not about, maybe I can shout at the sky, and it's good to know.
I was on the same Zoom call as Karen today, and something happened there that actually referenced Soul Sessions last week, Griff, because you spoke about how you had mentioned to your class that you were struggling, and you kind of ironically made the point, because we're going through a global pandemic, you were allowed to struggle. And you know, I was listening to one of the leaders in the Methodist Church sharing about her own vulnerability. And I found that so deeply touching and liberating in a way. And maybe that, you know, that's also a takeaway lesson from this. Hearing Karen speak so openly about like her own journey and her own experience with God, it's just, you know, now more than ever, I think we need to be addressing and open about being authentic and being vulnerable, letting people know that we're on the journey, that we haven't got it sorted, but yet God, as Karen said, as was spoken at the Zoom meeting today, that Jesus is more interested in us than we are in him. And that really is a truth that carries us forward. Karen, thank you so much for your time this evening. It's been so good having you with us.
My pleasure.
And because to go out on a high on what's been a particularly soulful evening, again, as a bit of a backdrop, I watched some of the inauguration today, didn't watch it all, but Garth Brooks sang Amazing Grace. And talking about seeking unity and division, there was a massive blowback because he is a country singer, and of course there's division within country music, and you know, blue, red, conservative, liberal, what have you. But his word was a word of basically, listen, we need to be unifying. And then he got up with it, took away his Stetson there and sang just a beautiful rendition of Amazing Grace. I thought, wouldn't it be fitting if we close this evening by singing that very song, Amazing Grace? We're going to sing it 4 verses, starting with Drew, going to Mary, back to you, Drew, and then ending off the Amazing Grace with Mary and Griff leading us. Is that correct? Have I got that right?
We go
Think so.
for it, yeah, take a chance.
I'll join you in a second. Yeah.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
many dangers, toils, and snares I have already come. 'Tis grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home.
When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining like the sun, leave no less tears to sing God's praise than when we first begun.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saves a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
And so we come to the end of our program. Drew, Mary, Griff, you guys have been absolutely majestic this evening with your song choice and your delivery. Karen, it's been an absolute pleasure sharing this time with you. Thank you for taking the time out to join with us. Guys, good night. Those watching, please be with us next week again. Soul Sessions continue. Sorry that I wasn't able to respond to the comments. I'm worried about that. I have noted them all. We are drying up on the requests. This is a matter of concern for me. So even if you WhatsApp me during the week and say we'd like more requests, or no, we'd like more requests, give me the songs you'd like to play, and we can put them into the online chat. But otherwise, wishing you a blessed rest of the week. Keep your hearts, eyes, ears, soul, mind, all of yourself open to what God is doing. Blessings for the rest of the week. We'll see you next week, and bye for now.